Good evening to you and a warm welcome to Business. Now, economist Professor Peter Quartey says the increase in transport fares will have little impact on the economy and cost of living. Transport fares are to go up by some 15% from Thursday. Now, the operators are attributing the increase to significant jump to cost of operations for the current lorry fare review. But speaking with Joy Business, Professor Quartey tells us the impact of this adjustment will not be that significant.
It could have some impact, but not a major one, in the sense that if you look at people's expenditure, total expenditure, transport accounts for 15 to 20% of their total expenditure. There are other things that goes into expenditure, and so yes, that can have effects on the cost of living, but I wouldn't think this will be a major change. But also there are prospects, given that the exchange rate is one of the driving forces behind these price increases. If we have prudent management of the economy, in the next couple of months, we'll see the exchange rate stabilize, come down, and that will then feed back into the transport fares again, and people are likely to ease off. So I see this as a temporary measure that people have to brace with, and with time, things will be back to normal.
So for you, from your own analysis, you don't think that the impact on the economy with respect to this will be that serious? Because some have said, often have said that when you look at inflation, transport inputs sometimes can be very heavy, and therefore that could have a spillover effect when it comes to cost of operations. And if I'm a businesswoman, if I deal in product, and if I go and buy this bottle of Coke at this price, obviously I'm not for the Christmas. I'll pass it on to you, Prof, if you should walk into my shop.
Certainly transport is a bigger component, but also exchange rates, movements, utility prices, cost of raw materials, and many others. We have seen in the budget some moves towards reducing the cost of doing business. So if all of this kick in, this increase in the transport fare will be even out, and I think that the effect wouldn't be very significant. But again, as I mentioned, this is, for me, a temporary measure, and unless we don't have prudent management as been promised. The new central bank governor has promised stabilizing the exchange rate. We've seen some of the taxes being reduced. So with all of this, I foresee some movement towards the norm over the next couple of months.
Meanwhile, the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers, Ghana, COPEG, has described the current increase in lorry fares as harsh, considering the economic climate at the moment. The Chamber is therefore re-emphasizing the need for a comprehensive transport fare policy, which will make provisions for both upward and downward reviews or adjustments using certain specific indicators for easy understanding and prediction by the public. Executive Secretary of the Chamber, Duncan Amwa, shared some thoughts earlier on the marketplace.
We are waiting for a key document, from a policy document that allows the public to also demand for reduction in transport from the GPRC and other public transport operators as a equal price go down like we are expecting in the month of April.
All right, Duncan, before you even get to the unions, the unions are saying that the increase, the 15% increase is okay, but you are saying that the margin is too high, and what's your explanation to that?
If you take in last week, February, when transport fares went up, and this year, April, if you take what was prevailing at Ghana pump, last year, February, fuel prices were around 16 to 20%. As we speak today, average pump prices are hovering around 18 to 42 pesos. That gives you about 12.14%. So no wonder if it was even just fuel prices alone as determinant whether we should still do 15. But like I indicated, it might be within reasonable limits, but still very harsh. Looking at Ghanaians and our economic situation prevailing, something could have been done a bit more reasonable than the full 50%.
What range would be reasonable according to the chamber?
10% would have been reasonable, Emmanuel, considering that over the past 1-2 weeks, we've also seen some reduction of about 5.5% across most OMCs. One would have considered that could have been factored also into the final outcome.
All right, so I was interacting earlier on the marketplace with Duncan Amwa, Executive Secretary of the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers. Away from that, it is not likely the Africa and Middle East Resources Investment Group, AMERI, would accept any invitation by government for a review of its $510 million power agreement with Ghana. That's the view of the Africa Center for Energy Policy, ACEP. The committee constituted to review the power deal has recommended a renegotiation or abrogation, citing elements of fraud in the payment of an extra $150 million to AMERI in commissions. Deputy Executive Secretary of the Center, Ben Boachi, tells Joy Business this might be difficult unless government is able to prove the deal was fraudulent.
I have seen the committee's report, which recommends that we should sit with AMERI to review the contracts. I mean, that would have been the ideal situation. But here we are. We have a contract that we have signed with the company, and we agreed to the terms of the contract. So unless you are able to establish, as they conclude, that there was fraud in the whole arrangement, I don't see how you can simply go to AMERI and say, come, let's review the agreement, or come renegotiate. Let us renegotiate the agreement. Because, frankly, AMERI didn't come with guns in their hands. What they said was that they needed $510 million to be able to deliver 250 megawatts of power over a 5-year period. And we agreed to it. You know, we did a back and forth, and we agreed to it. We raised the questions early enough to signal the warnings that we could have had those plants cheaper. Our officials actually insisted that it was value for money. It was the best option they had at their disposal, and therefore they were going for it. And the records are there. The records are there to justify that our officials attested to the fact that AMERI was the option they needed to go for. So on what basis are you now saying that the contract is overpriced when there was that vigorous defense, for this contract? And the fact of the matter is that AMERI has delivered on the contracts. It's a normal business practice. If you have a contract, anything you can subcontract portions of the contract to another person to deliver, it's perfectly done in global business. And that is what AMERI has done. They went to also negotiate with another company, and they got it for $360 million. And that is what we were saying, that if we had done due diligence, analyzed the background of AMERI, and look at the market, I mean, we would probably have found a company that could deliver this project cheaply, or cheaper for us. And we didn't do that. We just went to AMERI and negotiated, and that is what we have to pay, $510 million. And AMERI goes home with $150 million for not touching a spanner.
And that's all by way of business tonight. My name is Emmanuel Boachi. Many thanks for watching. For more business news, log on to myjoyonline.com/business. Have a great evening.